MMA Now, powered by Film On TV Network.
I'm David Kano with MMA Now TV, and right now I'm not joined with an MMA star. I'm joined with a former Pro Bowler, All-Pro Shawne Merriman in the house. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
You're big in MMA. I didn't even know this until I saw you working with Bellator.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what I did every offseason while I played football. I wanted to go train with all the MMA guys.
Who did you train with?
I've been in there with Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, Ty Wheatley, Ty Woodley. Before he's all big time and stuff. Now he's big time. But just name so many guys I've been in there with. Had some great coaches over the years. Two-time, three-time Muay Thai world champions that I've been coached by. And I always use it for like hand-eye coordination and stamina. And it was great for my knees, lower body, and low impact. I was just looking for a different way of training, and I was just kind of doing it to stay in shape. And I ended up falling in love with the sport, and that's what I did, for a while.
So did you actually do some sparring with them?
Yeah, but not with any cameras and stuff around, because I didn't want anything to get out when I was a player. So I used to have exhibition matches and stuff like that all the time. But I'll make sure everybody put up their camera phones and.
So did you spar Chuck and Randy?
No. I wasn't that crazy. Not just.
But
yet.
You have a lot of weight on them.
Yeah, it's weight. But one thing in the sport of MMA, it's when you're going against someone who has so much more technique than you do.
Right.
Strength and stuff and speed and agility can save you. Right, it can get you out of certain situations that a lot of people couldn't get out of. But at the end of the day, when someone has this advantage of have more knowledge of the sport, it comes out later in the play. Look, one round I can go with anybody, but after that, everything's up in the air.
It's kind of funny it's crazy that you understand the size doesn't matter in MMA. It's like you said, the technique and how good you are of these fighters. You don't go from one sport to another. But actually, Herschel Walker didn't do a bad job for being an old man in Strikeforce.
Yeah. It's funny. I've had several conversations just with Herschel Walker, and I think that he's been a great ambassador for Bellator, great ambassador for the sport, because he's someone who not only kept in tune with his body for so long, but he also transitioned well. And a lot of it is really hard to do, because some of the things you do in football when you want to explode and jump out of things and everything is about burst and speed and do all this other stuff. And in the sport of MMA, it's the total opposite. You have to really keep your composure. You have to be able to start, being a technician and think ahead of the game. And if you understand that as an athlete coming from football going to MMA, then you can make a good transition.
Now, I'm kind of interested in some of your exhibition matches. How did you do in those smokers?
You know what? I've never lost.
Undefeated.
Yeah, I'm undefeated. But it always start out right as sparring, and you got some guys that are like, oh, Shawne Merriman's in the gym. I'm gonna see what he got. And I was like, I don't know if you want to do that. Right. And then they always turn to the exhibition matches, but you work at it for so long, you want to kind of see where you at with it, especially with someone who has been in the sport a lot longer than you and more skilled than you. You want to say, okay, what do I need to learn to be on this level?
What's your strength? Is it striking or jiu-jitsu, grappling?
It's striking. I mean, I've come from a long line of a family of boxers, so striking has been something that we used to go and take the gloves in the backyards of cookouts, and we settled all our matches and settled disputes at home with boxing gloves in the backyard, or we go outside in the playground. And so that boxing's been kind of my family for a long time. And I'm good on the ground because I'm strong and I'm athletic. But to go against someone who has technique, has been doing it a lot longer than I have, you can't just jump out there and say, hey, I'm gonna just go and do this sport, because it's not a sport. You go test out.
Right. So I mean, because for some football players, you see some fights, you're going to see them in training camp and guys swing, but they have helmets on and they're
right.
just swinging. You're actually legit. You did a little bit of training.
Yeah, I did training. And I've been in several fights in training camp. So I was accustomed to that, but it was a little bit different
With helmets on.
With helmets on, but I've been at plenty of times where I was so pissed off where I took a swing at a guy with a helmet on. Glad nothing landed, But yeah, it's a total different training, and I just really love the sport, and hopefully, with things coming up, I can really get into it.
Like, so right now, obviously the big news was there's been a lot of big news. UFC sells for $4 billion.
Yeah.
And that was never could have been seen like 10 years ago. But also the big news is Brock Lesnar, Jon Jones, and now Chad Mendes has been suspended 2 years. What do you make of all this?
For one, and being a guy who got suspended myself when I played, it's nothing you can really say, right? Because for whatever the reason why was in my case was a supplement, and I wasn't paying attention and not being knowledgeable about what I was taking and whatnot. Whatever their reasons are for failing multiple times or whatever it is, you get a slap on the wrist, and I think that most people can understand you making a mistake the first time, because look, at the end of the day, you want to take what's best for your body. You want to make sure you have the best nutritionists. You want to make sure you have the best trainers, the best supplements. Anything you can do, you want the best. And sometimes always the best isn't always the right one. So, seeing some of these guys get suspended more than one time or pop up more than one time is kind of disheartening for the sport. But it really sucks because I know that they put a lot of training in, right? No matter what they did, they put a hell of a lot of training in, but now that gets taken away from you getting suspended. Now everyone is saying, hey, you were like this because you were taking this. You were this because you were taking that. So it doesn't matter how many hours you spent in the gym now, because you'll have a good majority of people, a good amount of people saying that you only did this for this reason. So that's kind of was a little bit disheartening.
But is it more dangerous for fighters taking it? Because these guys and girls, they're trying to actually hurt someone. Or in football, you have padding and there's rules. I'm granted there's rules in MMA, but is there a difference?
I don't think so. I think that by them getting suspended, it's probably they probably should have. Even when I got suspended, I don't think I was looking back at it and saying, "Oh, the NFL was terrible for what they did." Like, no, I was taking something I wasn't knowledgeable about it. I put it in my body, and that's my fault. But at the end of the day, you can put harm to anybody, not just by doing a little extra or taking anything. You just don't. You try to play the game or fight clean or whatever it is, and those things come up and those things happen. And, I really hope that both of them, all three of them actually, find a way to bounce back from it, because it is a lot you have to deal with in the media when you come from that. It takes a long time for that to go away, for you actually to clear your name of any like wrongdoing and prove that you are the fighter, you are the player that you are. So it's going to be a time thing where they have to come back and bounce back from that, and I hope all of them do.
And just real quickly, if we run down them, Brock Lesnar, Mark Hunt said that he was juiced to the gills. He had the USADA exemption, and he thinks that he should get some of his purse. Do you think that should happen?
I mean, I think I should get some of his purse. He got $2.5 million for the fight. And at the end of the day, I think that they'll find a way to work that out, whatever comes of that. And I seen some of the quotes and some of the things he said. And look, I mean, I'm sure he's going to feel a certain way because he lost, no matter what. So hopefully they find a solution to that, and everybody take care of it.
Jon Jones, what comes to mind? Busted for coke. That's not a violation at a competition. But then now he was popped for anti-estrogen, which could potentially be masking something. He had one of maybe the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and now his legacy has definitely taken a turn. What's your immediate thoughts?
To see somebody that talented, right? Because there's no doubt about it that he's not talented. Obviously, he's beaten plenty of people clean, or whatever you want to call it. But it's a dent in your legacy. Because at some point in time, no matter how much you come back and prove yourself, you're always going to have somebody to say, well, he's still cheating, or he's only great, he's only Jon Jones because he's cheating. But look, at the end of the day, people are going to say whatever they want to, and I really do hope that he bounced back from that because he is a talented fighter. He does work hard. He does put the hours in the gym, and I hate to see all that publicly and fan-wise, or anyone who supported him be taken away because of him failing the test.
No, real quick on UFC 202 and 201, your buddy Tyron Woodley will be fighting Robbie Lawler. How do you see that fight going?
Oh, I got Woodley all day. I've watched him and just progress. From being a wrestler, being someone who probably 1 or 2 dimensional now is striking people and I got a chance to spend a little time with him at the Dynamite 2 at Bellator's fight in St. Louis, and we were just kicking it and just talking about from the time that I just seen him training some years ago to where he's at with it now. And I don't see him taking a loss right now. He's too balanced, his too strong lower body. Now he's added striking to his repertoire, so I don't see it happening.
How does the fight end?
I think it's stopped in 2.
Stopped in 2.
Yeah, I think it's stopped in 2.
202, the rematch, McGregor-Diaz. Does McGregor bounce back?
Yeah, I think McGregor bounces back. For someone like that who prides himself on just straight out being the best and want to prove that he's the best, he's willing to talk about it and back it up. I love fighters like that. I don't know what other people feel about that, but I feel like that's one sport that you should feel extra confident about yourself. You should be a little confident in your abilities in fighting someone, and that layoff that he's had and all the things that's been talked about and why he pulled out of certain events and why he's not around. I think that someone like that, he's just feeding into it, and it's going to help him out a lot.
Now, we saw some of your stuff from Bellator. You were doing their Snapchat. Can you talk about exactly what you're doing with them, or are you with them in a certain capacity?
Yeah, I'm just with them in a certain capacity right now.
Can you is it what kind of capacity is that?
Yeah, I just I like the sport, and I think Scott Coker is great. He's he has one of these like brilliant minds that just not afraid to do something out the box, not afraid to challenge, and he's just a man of his word. And you talk to anybody about Scott Coker and what he's done so far in Bellator and what he's planning on doing, it's nothing but great things. And just to be around it and part of it, in any type of fashion, I'm happy about it.
So are you going to be doing more stuff with them down the road?
Yeah, it's possible.
It's impossible. And last, let's talk about your brand, Lights Out brand. How can we find you? Talk more about your product.
Yeah, people can go and check out lightsoutbrand.com for the newest fashions, fitness apparel. I have new product dropping at the end of next month. A couple huge announcements coming.
Can you give us one?
Not yet, because it's a group announcement. So, but you guys check out lightsoutbrand.com. Promo code LightsOut50 right now for 50% discount on the site. And reach out to me at Shawne Merriman for anything, man. I'm always talking to people who support me, people who support the brand and Lights Out, and hopefully they enjoy the news that's coming.